Okay, traders, look like we're up and racing. So I'm just going to run through pre-open to the European markets. Actually, in a couple of hours, I'm just going to run through some good trade ideas and good trade setups that you might want to take note of. There's a couple that I actually traded, which is quite good, which you've got on the screen here on the Australian 200 index. Normally, if I'm trading during the Asian session, I'll trade the SPY or the ASX 200 CFD, or I'll go and trade the Hang Seng. I really like the Hang Seng. The Nikkei also. I haven't got the Nikkei up today. I won't be showing that. And the Hang Seng's actually closed. Didn't do anything on the Nikkei and the Hang Seng, obviously. So the only trades today, which I did post in the Discord channel, were on the ASX 200. So it was on the open. So we'll go through that now. And then what I'll do is run through some really nice trade setups that I've seen on the DAX, the Dow. We got the US 5, so the S&P 500, the US 500, and the tech, the NASDAQ, US Tech 100, which you'll see on the screen shortly. All right, let's get into it then. So we've got the, firstly, I'll just grab the pick. So that was the trades that I actually posted. Now, I did trade later on, but that was really just, made 3 points or so and I was going short and cut the short just before it actually rallied back up. So, there's a few reasons why, which will explain that, why but I didn't bother trying to hold it, which hopefully would make sense. So that's the trades for today, and that was in this run down here. Okay, so really what I was looking for, the markets, where we had opened about 10 o'clock, so 9:50. Oh, here we go. It's right back here, isn't it? There we are. So that's the open. So 9:50, the SPY opens, so 10 minutes before the ASX 200 CFD, the index opens. And then you get the argy-bargy for the first 10 minutes when everyone's positioned themselves, the market's trying to, wanting to go short or long, and you get the flush out, the algos running into the market. So what I'm looking for, you can see that the market's open, popped up. It's popped up into resistance zone that we marked up pre-market. Okay, so I'm always setting up my levels, get the levels where I think if there's going to be a sell-off in that level, if it's going to flush the level, whatever it is. But what I'm looking for is a nice, easy trade confirmation. I don't want to take risk. I want a nice risk reward on my trades, and I've got certain methodology behind trading style and what I'm looking for. And I'm essentially just trading with momentum. So you see, I've got a MACD. That's the MACD of the chart, which is a 1 minute chart at the moment, and that's a longer term MACD. So that's essentially the 5 minute chart MACD. So I'm trying to get myself on both sides of that. When that MACD's down, so the momentum's down on the 1 minute, it's also rolling over. It's down on the 5. Okay, and that's when I'm looking for my prime trades. Right, so you can see markets opened up, popped up, and just when the market started to open at 10 o'clock, we got the sort of retracing back up here, and then we got it pushing down again. So I was looking at this mainly on the 5 minute chart for my entry setup, which we can actually, I'll just click it over the 5 minute to potentially show you here. And this is what it looks like on the 5. So I find that prime, okay? It's holding below my MAs. I like it that when you get a failure off a level and it retests it and fails at a lower level, okay, you're gonna expect some sort of expansion down, okay, even if it's just to clean out some traders, and that's what I did there. So you had the short entry on this candle here, which is from the 1 minute, and expanded down, took it off. So I got 10 and 20 points, partial out at 10, risk of 8, I think it was, on that trade. So risk 8, made 10 on half, and made 20 on the other half. So it's as simple as that. Okay, we'll go back to the 1 minute chart, and we'll explain through that again. So that was the entry. It was just in here. Okay, I know actually it was just about here. Okay, just when it was pushing down, flushed down, had a bit of a pop back up, and then failed after that. So that was good, risk reward on that trade. It did move down, did really nicely. So if you keep going on, I didn't trade this long. I just didn't. I was actually looking for a setup. I was expecting it to bounce, but I didn't expect that sort of V shape. Now, if you can trade those successfully, good luck. But I don't think they're very much a high probability setup on the long side at all. Or short side, if you get a sort of inverse V shape into a level and straight off, and you're trading at a level, and you just put your sell order in there, there's nothing to say you're going to get flushed out. So you've got to be careful, that sort of thing. That's why we always talk about shoulders. We always hear some talking about, or you will do, shoulders, lower highs, higher lows as confirmation on the lower time frame. So if I'm looking for that move on the 5 minute, I could just drop it down to a 1 minute and look for my shoulder. By shoulder, I mean if that's the move down, I'm looking for something like that. Okay, pretty simple. That's my shoulder, my higher low. I'm looking to trade into that and for that expansionary phase higher. So as it played out, nothing there. Roll over here. I was looking this in the 5. I was expecting this little pullback, back to the MAs, everything looking good. Momentum's down. Momentum's rolling over on the 5. I went short about, actually, I went short on the one about here. And then, of course, it popped up and then grinded into the lows again. And once we got this kind of this flush and then pop back up, so it took out this low, which you've got to be concerned that it's going to just flush and then reverse. So what I do is trap some sellers, some breakout traders, trap them, and then turn around and reverse them so everyone gets stopped out. So once you get people short, they get trapped short as well. The market turns, there's all these people who are going to buy back into the market and ramp it back up. And when you get the algos start to see that, they start pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. But all in all, that setup was really nice. Nothing wrong with the setup. It was below the EMAs on my 5-minute chart, and it also, it was below on the 1-minute chart too. It's just this momentum. Once we started to get that stalling on the 1, it's not going down. I don't mind if it comes down. I'm trying to show you something like this, touches and goes, expands again. That's great. But when it starts to go sideways for too long and the momentum seems to be easing into the downside, you're sort of looking this as it's in positive territory for momentum on the 5-minute chart, and you could easily just bounce off the 1, so the 0 line. Okay, so I'm wary that if this fails, I'm probably on the wrong side of the market. And sure enough, I was on the wrong side of the market. But what happened then? Actually, it rallied straight back up. And again, there was no real setup for me on that long side. Okay, I could have bought that. I could have bought that kind of entry, and I don't mind that kind of an entry on a smaller time frame rather than wait for this higher low. I'm looking at that flush and looking at that squeeze. So you got lower highs pressing in. That's a solid level. It flushed it and bounced straight back up. So I'd take the most recent lower high on this minor time frame, and you could have gone long. I would have been happy to go long, but I was too busy worrying about my short at that time. So it was giving you 3 points. It was a good exit, good entry, good exit, and that was it for the day. So that didn't play out after that, and really after that we had a rally up into got through this zone here, back up into 722, and just sort of failed after that. So no shorts through there. But you can see that was a prime entries on the. I like the early ones. When you get that early move and then a flush. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So if we go through, take that theory back into the others, like the DAX. Looking at that early open. So this is when the futures market opens at 6 o'clock. So I like trading from 6 to and then the index opens at 7. And we have our strategy that runs at 7 o'clock. So we only worry about that first hour, get our levels, and hopefully it takes a few minutes to kick off on the strategy. And then that's done. And then we're looking for directional trades. Okay. So I've got from here, the way I'll be structuring a trade from here, and this is a 5-minute chart now. So I'll move it down to the 1 in just a moment. That's the opening sort of range. And you can see that market, okay, it's looking negative. There was a level up here. You can see from prior through here, markets reacted off that. Okay, so your theory is, okay, if it's going to react, we're going to get a lower high, it's going to go lower, and it should expand lower just to squeeze some traders out. Now, what happened, instead of expanding, it went through the opening lows and stalled. Okay, when it stalls and pops back up, you don't really want to be short. Okay, what you'd be looking for there, or what I'd be looking for, is more of push up off that level and go long. Okay, that's sort of the thing I'm looking for. So, okay, popped up and failed back down again. So that's more like what we're looking for. And from the open, it didn't actually push through that level. This is, prior to that, that's the CFD. You could, if you trade that, it's just wider spreads. But what I like is that once the market's open at 6 o'clock, it didn't get through that high. It tried, okay, flushed up through the highs. And once it comes back down again, that trade is off the table. And what I'm really looking for from there is something like that, failure off that level. And you got that. You'd have to drop it down. We'll look at the 1-minute chart. That was nice. You can get a 1-minute chart as long as that's holding below the EMAs. And once you fail off there, you're looking to at least attack this low here at 15, was it 463 through here. And then potentially if it just goes lower, you can just follow it down. Okay, if we go down to the 1-minute chart, yeah, that's probably the prime entry. I'll talk about the others later. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, so that's what I was talking about with this setup here. Push up, failure, retest it from underneath and hold. Okay, you've got this kind of thing. Pop up, failure, back underneath. And you don't take it as a hard and fast level. It's not to the exact point. It's a zone. And if the zone starts to hold, like it did here, it flushed up. That failure through there, which took out this higher low, and so on. So that leg up is now finished. We flush through it, pop back up. This zone through here, this level is a lower high. Okay, so you're working off that lower high. There's a number of shorts. You could have gone short straight through there. Nice little short, kept going down, lower highs. We're now below the MAs. Now we're below the MAs on the 5-minute chart as well. 1 minute chart, MACD, or the momentum's down, we're rolling, and then we roll over and we're down on the 5 minute as well. So all this leg down, you could have taken a nice little trade. So if you had something like that as a prime entry, even just down to this flush, you've got 55 points. If you can hold that, so you can take a partial off there, you can hold that, and that's back into that low, remember? That's a 55-point move. And then if it just keeps going, you hold these lower highs, your stops are going below here, your next trade, you could have taken another 60, 70 points and so on. So you can see how it really works out when you get it on the right side and you get your action right and your entries right, which we'll be sitting there in the Discord channel. We'll make sure we explain to you how they work. I'll make sure I go through all the processes that I'm looking for, how to set up. So, it's an easy learning curve, and it's not difficult stuff. It's just a matter of getting the ideas, getting the principles, rinse and repeat. Get over to the Dow now. So that's the opening zone for the Dow, 12:30. So that's when the futures market opens. The futures market goes before that as well, but that's just the pre hour when the market is opening. Okay, when the index opens at 1:30. And again, we do our breakout trade on that, the 5-minute trading day, and that works fine. I think it worked fine last night for 10 points. Got us our 10. That's all done, and then we're focused on the directional trades. All right, so you can see market was fairly choppy here. What I really like is this flush. So this is the opening candle at 12:30. I'll just move that. Actually, I just moved that. No, I just want to move that one there. There we go. That's your opening candle. You can see it kept pressing into that level, pressed it in, hits 130, flushes it. Okay, as soon as you flush and bounce back, I'm a bit concerned that that's going to be the end of it for that low. So what I'm looking for here is that if it's going to be weak, it shouldn't flush it. It should go down, retest it from underneath, and go down further. Okay, if the market wants to roll over, but because it's not, it's popped back up. We'll held this level in here. I'm looking for longs. Okay, all day. And if this is a 5-minute chart again, we'll go back in a second. So I'm looking for that first bit of expansion. And as you can see, 5 minutes rolling up, 1-minute chart momentum's up. So you're getting everything on your side. You're on top of the EMAs this time, rather than the shorts. We're going long. We want to stay on top of the EMAs. And we're looking for an entry through that level. Now, later on, let's go through. Later on, that was an actually really good entries. 1, 2. I love seeing those. You got expansionary phase up. 1, 2. Retests. Holds in here. And then up we go. And that there, we'll circle that because that's going to look like a prime entry on the 1-minute chart too. Right in here. Okay. So even if you're trading it off the 5, you don't need to go down to the 1. That is a beautiful entry. There's nothing better than that. Okay. Everything's in our favor. 5 minutes, the momentum's up. We've had a bit of a pullback. That's your first pullback after this push up. First pullback. It sticks. We've got our flush. Love that. Love seeing a flush and retracement back up. And then you've got this higher low to work off. So if we go into the 1-minute chart, that for me is the prime areas, and it's nice and early. You've got the trade set up. You've got all the structure that you're looking for, and then it's just about making the money after that. Get the entries, and then off you go. So you can see that's the retest here after that flush in the open. Retest it. That level holds, and then we're looking for entries. Beautiful entry just in here. That's where I would have been going long. Pull back to the MAs. Up, up, up. Okay. You know where your risk is. It's just below that level. Take maybe this green candle. I'll more than likely wait for that green candle to finish. Go the second candle as they break through these previous candles, and then you're on. Okay, so beautiful trade, and that one would have netted you if you just got it from there. Even if you got to there, 87 points. If you could have held it a bit higher, over 100 points. Okay, you can see that risking about 40 points or so on the Dow to pay out 120, say 3 times or 2 times. Even here, you're 2 times your money. Here it's about 3 times your money. So you could have got picking right out the highs, you could have got 4 times your money, 160 points. That's tougher going. It's picking the exact high. But anyway, you can see how it really pays off nicely. And this trade here on the 5-minute, what we're saying, flush in 5, that's your risk. So your risk is about 40 to 50 points again, and you got 98 to 100 in that first push. You held a bit longer. You've covered your 3 to 1, 2 or 3 to 1 as well on that trade. So as you can see, really, really nice. Sorry, just looking at my leg down there. Got my little face on there. So that's great. Okay, that's a Dow. So you've got similar sort of scenarios on the S&P 500 and the tech. You've got a flush, 5 minute again, open here, holds that opening sort of range, flushes on the open, and then bounces straight back. And this is the zone we'll probably be looking at. Okay, that's where ideally you're looking at the 5. That's your first pullback. Back to the MAs. Up we go. We know that's expanded. You look at the 1. Look at what setup it gave us. If I can find it, here you go. So that's that opening range we just mentioned. 1230, just in here. Goes through that low, flushes through, and what that does is trap some sellers. Anyone that's been selling in here, they're all excited, goes through, and then it reverses and stops them all out. So anyone that saw that, took the short on the breakout, and then it's reversed, they're now chasing their tail as they chase the market higher. And you can see it starts to establish a nice uptrend. So that's your zone in here. You could have even taken it one bit earlier. You could have taken this long, and you would have still held below. If that's your risk there, you would have still, break out top, buy into that, risk below. It didn't get hit. It stalled a bit, and then it started to take off. Okay, but either way, nice, handy trade. Okay, then you got the same price action just through here is what we were mentioning on the Dow. Look at that, beautiful. This kind of action through here. That there is your higher low. That's prime. Off you go, off to the races we are. All right, tech. Look at the tech here. That's the open. That's a 5 minute. This is the Nasdaq. Again, that was probably a bit tougher to take because it was kind of extended, but that is a setup. That's your first pullback on your 5 minute. The MAs are well and truly up, so it's a very big effort to start expanding higher, pull back to the MAs up, and then straight down again. Okay, and stop everyone out. It's unlikely, if anything. I haven't got my right view on here. Just 1 second. Double MACD. Let's use that. No, it's this one, isn't it? Here we go. Back to the 5. So that's the area we're looking at. Short-term momentum's up on the 5 minute. Your longer term starting to swing up. So, you want to be biased up from that. That's your pullback. Now we go into the 1, and we'll see. I'm sure we'll see a good setup there. Just go and find it. Here we go, back here. Okay, even that earlier. So if we just make this, that could have been a nice entry from your 1. It's kind of preemptive, and you've got a bit out of that. So you could have taken some off here. You had a pullback. You could have added, or you could have held the second part, or you could have just held through that. Okay, that's the MAs. We had a bit of a dip, and that's why you can see from the 5. If you were trading purely from the 5, you would have been trading in here, and I would have found that really nice about that. So my risk would have been breakout through that high. You got that first candle. I like there's a certain risk parameter I like as well, but it's through. I call it an HH2, high 2, or LL2 for lows. But that's what I'm liking. That flush, bounce straight back up. This green candle is like a trigger candle. Buy into the next one, and away you go. So you can really minimize your risk that way. All right, and you're with the 5 minute momentum, and you're with the 1. All right, that's pretty much it. I think that's all I wanted to go through. So what I'll do later on will be on for the start of the European session, and just before that, we'll see where the markets are placed then, and see where our levels are at, and we'll walk through some key levels that we want to look at, that we're interested in, and then just talk through a bit of price action, and then get ready for the 7 o'clock alert, which is the breakout, the 5 minute trading day, and then we'll have a bit of a chat after that. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, and we'll speak to you again soon.